Hello, everyone, and welcome to Deep Core Connect. This mat class is designed to help us find the deep abdominal muscles, mainly our transverse abdominis, the one that helps pull our body back to its center, and our pelvic floor, which sits at the bottom of our core. If we think of the core working as a box, you want the bottom of your box to be able to support the rest of your core. Yes? The two props that I'm going to be using today are my yoga block and my yoga strap. And essentially, you can use any type of strap, whether it's a stretch one, you could use a scarf, anything like that. I'm using this for its length, which will make sense here in a little bit. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with the most basic and kind of progress through. These muscles can sometimes be tricky to find on their own. So before I lay down, I'm going to take my strap. I'm going to find right at the bottom of my ribs, give or take. And I'm going to cross my body. All right. My yoga block is going to go right in between my knees. All right. And I'm going to lower carefully onto the floor. All right. Center yourself wherever you're working. All right. So we're going to start with some deep breaths. And again, I'm going to use my strap here as feedback. I'm just going to rest my elbows. I'm going to take a deep breath in. And as I breathe in, I'm going to feel how my ribs press against the strap ever so slightly. And as I exhale, I'm going to give a little pressure with my hands. I'm going to feel how my abdominals start to come together, right, meet in the middle. Right? And we go again, deep breath in. And deep breath out. Good. Deep breath in, I release the strap. And deep breath out. And deep breath in. And deep breath out. Good. Now on this last one, we're going to breathe out and we're going to hold that empty exhale for 10 counts. Right? And you gather all your air up. Exhale. Holding for 10, 9, 8. Strong strap. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Good. Let's do that one more time, right? It's harder than it looks, right? Deep breath in. Feel everything expand in the torso. Exhale, empty your air. Pull on that strap. Once you're at the very bottom, we count down from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Good. All right, so now we're kind of wondering, what's this yoga block doing here, right? So I'm going to keep my strap, and I'm going to add in some hugs to my yoga block, right? So we're going to breathe in. As I breathe out, I'm going to pull on my strap, empty my lungs, and I'm going to hug into that yoga block. Release everything as you breathe in. And breathe out, tug on the strap, empty the lungs, squeeze into the yoga block. Good. One more like this, then we're going to add on. Deep breath in. And deep breath out. Good. And rest. So now we're going to think of, again, that bottom part of our core, and we're going to think of lifting it up, right? Now, I want to preface, I'm not moving my legs or my heels. I'm using a little bit of imagery as we go. Okay, so I'm going to breathe in. As I breathe out, I'm going to tighten the strap. I'm going to hug the block, and then I'm going to imagine that my abdominals are pulling the block up to my chest. Good. Deep breath in, release everything. And exhale. Pull the block up to the chest. And deep breath in. And out. And one more deep breath in. This time we're going to hold it for 10, right? Breathe out. Holding for 10. Keep pulling the block in. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Good. All right. So hopefully we started to feel a little bit of connection here, right, in our lowest set of abdominals. Right. We're now going to go into a little bit of bridging. So I want to make sure that my feet are planted firmly, right? Big toe, pinky toe, inside heel, outside heel. All right, I'm going to lay my strap off to the side. We don't need it for the moment. I'm going to press my hands down into the ground for some stability. We're going to start small and then progress to a higher bridge. Okay? I'm going to take a deep breath in. I'm going to think of pulling the block towards me. I'm going to think of hollowing out, right? Little bit of a pelvic tilt under, right? So curling in, tailbone to sternum, yoga block towards chest. I'm going to try and lift my hips up. Let's do just a couple inches off, very small hover. Good. I'm going to lower. Once my hips touch the ground, then I release. And again, hug, pull in with the block, curl the tailbone. Find this first before you lift. Up. Again, find that little bit of a hover. And lower. And release. And again. Pubic bone to sternum. Block towards chest. Good. If you feel like your glutes are squeezing a lot, imagine instead that they're wrapping underneath. And sometimes I even, right, help with a little bit of touch cue there. Right? It's just you and me, right? No judgment. And lower. Good. And as you see, I went a little bit higher. So if it starts to feel okay, maybe we go a little higher. All the while driving it from the core, right? It's working as a core set. And lower. Good, let's do 2 more. And lift. And find your challenge point where you really have to think about that connection. And lower. It may not get all the way straight, shoulders to knees, and that's completely fine. Right, 1 more. Curl to lift. Good. And lower with control. And rest. Good. All right, I'm going to take my block. I'm going to place it behind my head just for a little bit of support. All right. I'm going to take my strap. I'm going to cross it over my body again, just like we did. All right, so now we're going to do a slow-mo march here with the hips. So my tailbone is long, right? I'm going to make sure it's not tucked up like it was, right? We're keeping what we call neutral spine. I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on my strap, just again, to remind myself that my abdominals have to be knitting into the center of my body, right? Gentle press down with the shoulders, broadening out the chest, right? I'm going to pull my knee in towards my chest, holding my abdominals strong, and then bring it back down. Other side, up and down. Again, this looks easy, but if I remember how I connected my abdominals with my breath, right, that strap is a reminder of how they need to fire. If I don't want to use the strap, I can think of my hands at my hips, and I think about how I would make my hands meet in the middle. And down. Right? And I'm just moving smoothly through each one. If you need to slow it down, slow it down. Maybe you do a little less, but you should do a little less in better form than a little more in not good form. Right? Let's do 4 more. 4. And 3. And 2. And 1. Good. Take a little rest, right? Especially if I'm rebuilding my core, right? Maybe I have a little bit of ab separation, right? We want to take our rest so that, again, we can fully engage. Okay. So I'm going to start with my back leg, right? Again, we'll do both sides. Doesn't matter which leg you start with. Right? I'm going to broaden the chest, press down with the arms, knit the abdominals just like I did. I'm now going to pull my knee towards my chest, and then I'm going to slide my heel out. I'm going to think of my belly button lifting to my heart in opposition. Right? And draw it in. And press it out. We're going to work to 6. Up. Press it out. Up. Press it out. Up. Press it out. One more. Up. Press it out. Bring it in. Plant the foot. All right. Let's go to the other leg. So again, I'm going to think of that knit, right? Again, I can do it with my hands lower. I'll go ahead, right? I'm going to leave my strap. I'm going to show it with hands lower. So I'm finding my ribs and my hips. I'm placing my hands there. I'm thinking about how I'm going to make them meet in the middle. Oh, bring it up. Bring it out. And up. And out. And up. And out. And up. And out. We'll do 2 more, getting to 6. Up. And out. And up. And out. And hold. Good. So now we're going to go side to side. I'm going to hold one leg still as I move the other leg. So actually, I'll do this leg first so you can see a little better in the camera. I'm going to plant this foot down. I'm going to open the leg, and then I'm going to think of this hip hugging to my middle. Hug. Open. And hug. You can even take this hand and put a little bit of gentle pressure with that inner thigh. Reach. Hug into the middle. Reach. Hug into the middle. 2 more. And hug. 1 more. Reach. And hug. Good. I'm going to switch sides. 6 on this leg. So I'm going to let it go to the side again. Don't let this leg follow. And hug. Reach. And hug. And reach. And hug. Reach. And hug. Reach. And hug. 1 more. Reach. And hug. Good. And hold. All right, so now I'm going to think of both legs going together. I'm going to make sure my hips stay in place. I'm going to work in a range that's comfortable. Right? Again, I'm going to keep my hands right here on my hips, and every time I want to bring them in, I'm going to think, how am I going to make my fingers be in the middle, right? What muscles are going to allow me to do that, right? So I'm going to open my knees out. I've got my mat for reference. I'm going to open my knees out the width of my mat, and I'm going to start from here. I'm going to hug my hips together to bring the legs up. Okay. Reach open and hug. Reach open. If that hug feels fine, add a little pull up with the abdominals. So I'm going to lift my belly button towards my heart as I hug my hips in. Right, if that feels like a lot, just focus on the hips. In. Good, 2 more. Reach. And in. 1 more. Reach. And in. And rest. Good. All right. Coming up. Again, I've still got my strap. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to go into a little bit of all fours, right? Again, great core work, right? And I'm using my strap again as a reminder, as feedback, right? Good. So I've got my strap in my hand. Right, I'm going to place my hands down on the ground. Right, this is where I wanted the length for it. Right, is this work right here? So I'm going to go onto all fours, and I'm actually going to hug my knees together. Right, I'm going to make sure, right, you can see this curve in my back here. I'm going to press my ribs up into the band, and then very, very slightly, I'm going to pull my tailbone underneath me like a sad puppy dog tail. Not to the point where I'm trying to round my back, but just enough that I feel my lower abdominals engage. Oop. Right, and that's my watch telling me I need to call SOS. All right, let's readjust. There we go. All right, so from here, very similar to what we just did with the strap, right? But now we're in all fours. Now my relationship to gravity is different, right? So I'm going to stretch my leg out, and then I'm going to pull it in towards my nose. In. Reach out. Pull in. I'm thinking of pulling the band apart with my hands, keeping my abdominals lifted up into that band. Reach and in. This time we're going to reach out and hold. Now, your height, depending on how the abdominals stay connected, I'm going to keep that little tuck of the tail. I'm going to push my thigh bone up towards the ceiling, bring it back down. Push it up, bring it back down. Up and down. Up and down. One more. Up and down. Bring it in and sit the hips back. Release the wrists. All right, other side. So again, I'm going to connect to my mat. I'm going to think of pulling the strap apart so it's taut across my back. Right, I'm going to think of my tailbone curling under ever so slightly. Right, strong abdominals. Right, I'm going to slide my foot out and then pull it back in. Slide out. Pull it back in. Slide out. Pull it back in. Slide out. Pull it back in. This time we're going to slide out and hold. Strong abdominals, press the thigh bone up towards the ceiling and bring it back down. Lift. Bring it back down. Lift. Bring it back down. Lift. Bring it back down. Let's do one more. Lift. Bring it back down. Bring the knee in. And rest. Good. All right. Last thing we're going to do, I'm going to get rid of the strap. We're going to work similar to a push-up, right? But I'm going to approach this from all fours. So again, I'm feeling myself connect in a way that's still safe, where I'm not having to hold up my entire body weight. Right? So I'm going to bring my hands to the mat. Again, I'm going to find all fours. I'm going to think of that strap that I was just working with. Right? And actually, let's go ahead and bring our block forward. Right? A little bit of, right, how much distance should I go? Right? So I'm going to think of my elbows hugging into me. I'm going to think of my ribs knitting. I'm going to bend, bring my forehead down towards the block or my pillow. Maybe that's your prop today. And lift. And bend. Press up. And bend. Keeping the abdominals hugging together, left to right side. Again, imagine your strap. Lower. And up. Two more. Lower. Up. One more. Lower. And up. Good. I'm going to sit the hips back towards the heels. Reach your arms forward. Little child's pose, rest. Good. All right. And that's it. That is our Deep Core Connect class. So hopefully you feel, right, these seem like very basic movements just to start off with, but hopefully, right, the small movement, the intention behind it allows us to feel deeper muscles. And the more that they connect in small movements such as this, the more they can connect when we start doing bigger movements, either bigger movements here or seated or standing, right? It's a great support system for whatever you want to do. So thank you again for joining me, and I'll see you on the mat.